भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गोप श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री नरसिम्हा चतुर्दशी महामहोत्सव की जय। श्री नरसिम्हा देव भगवान की जय। प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग की जय। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वंदेहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 8, Text number 17. Quickly you can open. Satyam vidatum nijabhratya bhashitam सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्य भाषितं सत्यं विधातुं व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताथ्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् अदृश्यताथ्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्य भाषितं व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताथ्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्य भाषितं व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताथ्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्य भाषितं व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताथ्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्य भाषितं व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताख्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्यभाषितम् व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताख्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्यभाषितम् व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मनः अदृश्यताख्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम् सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्यभाषितम् व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु अदृश्यताख्याद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तम्भे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम्. Actually, today's class is not focused on this verse. I took this verse deliberately because of one word which comes in this verse, which I am going to discuss today. So today we are basically discussing the form of Lord Nrsimhadeva. So how he looked. So because in this verse that Adbhuta Rupam word has come, so therefore I decided to recite this verse. I will just read the translation. To prove that the statement of his servant Prahlad Maharaj was substantial, in other words, to prove that the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, even within the pillar of an assembly hall, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari exhibited a wonderful form never before seen. The form was neither that of a man nor that of a lion. Thus the Lord appeared in his wonderful form in the assembly hall. So, Satyam Vidatum Nijabhratya Bhashitam. You all know this verse is a very beautiful verse which generally we discuss often on Narsimha Chaturdasi. Satyam Vidatum Nijabhratya Bhashitam. Vidatum means to prove that it is true, Satya. Nijabhratya, Nija means his personal servant, his devotee. So here in the purport, if you see Srila Prabhupada, he says this Nijabhratya Bhashitam applies to both Prahlad's words. What was the Prahlad word? Prahlad word was that Hiranyakashipu asked him whether his God Vishnu is present in the pillar. So Prahlad said yes, he is present in the pillar. To prove that one, he appeared from the pillar. And also to prove the words of Brahma, because Brahma had given benediction that neither human being nor animal, nor in the day, nor in the night, nor inside the house, nor outside the house. So like that. So Brahma had given benediction. To prove the words of Brahma as true, he assumed such a wonderful form, Adbhutam Rupam. This word Adbhutam Rupam has come here. So we will discuss that. I'll just read the purport also, it's nice. When Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad Maharaj, "Where is your Lord? Is he present in this pillar?" Prahlad Maharaj fearlessly replied, "Yes, my Lord is present everywhere." Therefore, to convince Hiranyakashipu that the statement of Prahlad Maharaj was unmistakably true, the Lord appeared from the pillar. The Lord appeared as half lion and half man, so that Hiranyakashipu could not understand whether the great giant was a lion or a human being. To substantiate Prahlad's statement, the Lord proved that his devotee, as declared in Bhagavad Gita, is never vanquished. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Prahlad Maharaj's demonic father had repeatedly threatened to kill Prahlad. But Prahlad was confident that he could not be killed, since he was protected by the Supreme Lord. By appearing from the pillar, the Lord encouraged his devotee, saying in effect, "Don't worry, I am present here." By manifesting his form as Narasimhadeva, Lord also preserved the truth of Lord Brahma's promise that Hiranyakashipu was not to be killed by any animal or any man. The Lord appeared in a form that could not be said to be fully a man or a lion. So Adbhutam Rupam it was. So next verse, text number 18. Sasatyam sasatvam yenam parito vipashyan stambhasya madhyadanu nirjidhanam nayam mrago napi varo naro vichitram aho kimetan ramagendra rupam. While Hiranyakashipu looked all around to find the source of that sound, that wonderful form of the Lord, which could not be ascertained to be either a man or a lion, emerged from the pillar. Now if you see, this verse has some background. Before 17th verse, first, before Lord Narasimhadeva appeared, the huge tumultuous sound was produced there. And that sound spread all over the universe actually. So then in this verse you can see that Hiranyakashipu is trying to find out from where the sound is coming. Then Nayam Mrugo Napi Naro Vichitram. So in the previous verse it was told Adbhutam Rupam, and also Na Mrugam Na Manusham, that word had come. Here again Nayam Mrugo Napi Naro Vichitram. Vichitram means astonishing. Again wonderful. So Aho Kim Etandra Makendra Rupam. So one Aho Kim Etan, whether this is a mruga or whether it is a nara, whether it is a human being, so it is difficult to decide. So then that word Nam Ragendra Rupam word has come there. In amazement, Hiranyakashipu, what is this creature that is a half man and half lion? So again and again it is coming, you see. In the previous verse, now, na mragam na manusham, nayam mrugo napi naro vichitram. Again, nra mragendra. Nra means again human being, and mragendra means lion actually. So again and again it comes. So in the purport, Prabhupada speaks about power of the Lord. That is a separate topic, which also I had thought that maybe I may give class on the power of the Lord, because avatars of Krishna, they exhibit different, among the 6 opulences, they exhibit different opulences. So only Krishna exhibits all when he appears here. He exhibits all. Other day on Ram Navami we discussed that when he appears he exhibits all these 6 opulences. But other avatars may not exhibit all this. So they may exhibit some of them or they may exhibit one of them. So here we can see Narasimhadeva, he exhibited power, his power. So there are many verses. So some other day we can discuss that, power of Lord Narasimhadeva. So this was Mragendra Rupam. So actually our topic of discussion today, the form of Lord Narasimhadeva, is discussed in 8th chapter. This 8th chapter, 19th verse to 22nd verse. So we read now 17th and 18th. So from 19th verse, the actual form of Lord Narasimhadeva is described. Mimam samanasya samuttitograto nasimha rupasthadalam bhayanakam प्रतप्त चामीकरचण्डलोचनं स्फुरच्छटाकेशरजृम्बिताननं कलाकरालधंष्ट्रं करवालचञ्चलक्षुरान्तजिह्वं भ्रुकुटीमुखोल्बणम् स्तब्धोर्ध्वकर्णं गिरिकन्दराद्भुतव्यात्थास्य नासं हनुभेदभीषणम् दिवि स्पृशत्कायमधीर्घफीवरग्रीवोर्वक्षस्थलमल्पमध्यमम् चन्द्रांशुगौरिश्चुरितं तनोरुहैर्विश्वग्भुजानिकशतं नकायुधं धुरासदं निजेतरायुध प्रवेकविद्रावितदैत्यदानवम्. So these verses have lots of upamas and alankaras from, if you see from Sanskrit poetry point of view. So Mimamsamanasya, I'll read translation once. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Narasimha Deva standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. So Mimamsamanasya samuttito grato nasimha rupastad alam bhayanakam. So here that Narasimha Rupastad Alam Bhayanakam. Alam means extraordinarily fearsome it was. Bhayanakam. So Narasimha Rupam. Adbhuta Rupam, Mragendra Rupam. Now it is Narasimha Rupam. Samuttito Grato. He tried to understand. Mimamsa means contemplation. Mimamsa means contemplation. Manasya, in the mind he was trying to contemplate what is this form of, which is very fearsome. Pratapta chamikara chandalochanam. So his eyes were like a molten gold actually. So yellow color eyes. Generally we have heard red color eyes. When we become angry, eyes become red. Or if you don't sleep, then eyes become red. So, but here, his eyes were pratapta, like molten chamikara. Chamikara means gold actually. Pratapta means molten. Tapta, you understand, heated. Chandalochanam, having his, you see actually there are two upamas here, examples are, so upama, chanda, adjectives are there, Pratapta, gold, chamikara, so pratapcha chamikara, and chanda means fierce, lochanam. So spurat shata keshara. So Keshara, Shata Keshara, his mane, you understand that mane means those hairs around his head and face basically. So they were flashing. So Lord Narasimha Deva was flashing his hairs. Dhamstram, Jrambita Ananam Karaladamstram. So that mean also, because they were flashing and they expanded the dimension of his fearful face. So then that lion face was appearing very wide because of these means, his mane. So which expanded the dimension. So his deadly. So what is Karala Damstram? That word comes. So deadly teeth. Then it says Karavala Chanchalakshura Anta Jivam. So about Jiva it is told. What it is told? Karavala Chanchala. Just like sword it was moving. Sword how it moves. So it was moving like that. Yes, teeth. And another thing about the teeth is Kshura Anta. And it was very sharp like razor at the end. So two things which are about the jiva. What is that? One, it was moving like a sharp sword, and another was the end of the tongue was Kshura Anta, means sharp razor. So Bhrukuti Mukha Ulbhanam. So then it says that his nostrils, Bhrukuti, his ears were erect and motionless, it is told. Stabdha word comes there. And Urdhva, extending upward. Karna means Girikandara Adbhuta Vyathasya Nasam. His mouth, Vyatha means mouth, widely open mouth. So Nasam means nostrils. The Adbhuta, wonderful Girikandara. So huge caves of the mountain, Girikandara valley also we can say. Valleys of the mount. So his jaws parted fearfully. So what it says there in Sanskrit, Nasam, Hanubeda Bhishanam. Bhishanam word is there. So causing fear due to separation of the jaws. So he has opened wide. Previously it had come wide open mouth, So now the jaws would be separated. So, but it was looking because of that opening of the mouth and the jaws, it was looking very severe. Bhishanam. Basically fearsome. Divis Prashad Kayam Adhirga Pivara. So his chest, his jaws part of it, and his entire body touched the sky. So here it is told that Divis Prashat, Sparsha, that word from Sparsha, that Prashat word comes. So it was touching the sky. Kayam means body. So Adhirga Pivara, Griva. So Pivara and Griva. His trunk and neck was very short. Adhirga. Dirga means long. Adhirga means short. So you can see that when that trunk means generally it comes like that actually. It becomes short there towards the end. And his neck also was very small. So then Vakshasthalam, Uru Vakshasthalam. So Vakshasthalam, his chest was very broad. So Alpa Madhyamam, middle portion of the body was small. Chandra Amshu, like the rays of the moon. Gaurai, whitish. Churitam, covered. Tanururai, with hairs. So there it says that his bald chest, his waist thin, and hairs on his body as white as rays of the moon. So his arms, which resembled the planks of soldiers. spread in all directions as he killed the demons. Rogue Sethis with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus and other natural weapons. So what it says that Chandramshu Gaurash Churitam Thano Ruhair. This Ruhair word comes actually. Ruhai means hairs actually. Ruhair ends with hairs actually. Hairs word actually. You can see all English terms how they come from Sanskrit actually. Thanu means hairs on the body. Thanu means body. Thanu Ruhair. So Vishwak Bhujanikashatam Nakhayudham Dhurasadam Sarva Nije Tharayudha Praveka Vidravita Dhaitya Danamam. So here Nijetara Ayudha word. So Nijetara Prabhupada has translated disc, club, lotus, conch shell. So with that he is killing demons, rogues and athis. So this is the form of Lord Narasimha. Now so in the next verse, Prayena meham harino rumaina vadasmrato nena samudyatena kim evam bruvamsta abhyapatad gadayudo nadan rasimham pratidaitya kunjaraha. So you can see Hiranyakashipu murmured to himself, Lord Vishnu, who possesses great mystic power, has made his plan to kill me. But what is the use of such an attempt? Who can fight with me? Thinking like this and taking up his club, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. So here Hiranyakashipu, Narasimha, Nadhan Narasimha Prati Daitya Kunjara. That last line says that basically this verse tells what he is thinking, our Hiranyakashipu, our dear friend Hiranyakashipu. So Nadan Narasimham. So Lord is called Narasimha and Prati Daitya Kunjara, and demon is compared with elephant here. Daitya Kunjara, that word comes. So Hiranyakashipu is called as Daitya Kunjara. He is compared with elephant. So in the purport Srila Prabhupada he says that sometime there would be fight between lions and elephants, and always lion is victorious, he says. Now Lord has appeared as lion, and Shukadeva Goswami or Narad Muni is narrating this to Yudhishthira Maharaj. He compares Hiranyakashipu with an elephant. So basically he is indicating that very soon, so Simha, this lion will kill this Daitya Kunjara, elephant. Just like in first and second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, again and again Sanjay is indicating to Dhritarashtra that Dhritarashtra will be, so Kauravas will be destroyed in this battle, and Pandavas will become victorious. So like that signs of victory, even in second chapter they are there, signs of victory. So like that here, so Shukadeva Goswami or Narad Muni, they are saying that, so what will be the fate of Hiranyakashipu now? In the jungle there are sometimes fight between lions and elephants. Here the Lord appeared like a lion, and Hiranyakashipu, unafraid of the Lord, attacked him like an elephant. Generally the elephant is defeated by the lion, and therefore the comparison in this verse is appropriate. So of course from next verse onwards, even this also, this verse doesn't actually, which we just now read, 23rd verse, it basically speaks about the strength of the Lord, power of the Lord, potency of the Lord actually. Lord is like lion, and this Hiranyakashipu is like elephant who will be destroyed. So from next words onwards, the power and potency of Lord Narasimhadeva is discussed, because there the fight between Hiranyakashipu and Narasimhadeva, how Lord played with him, and all those descriptions they come. So anyway, so the beauty of the Lord. So in different verses, different words are used. So Adbhutam Rupam comes in 17th verse. Then in the 18th verse, Nram Ragendra Rupam comes. So Nram Ragendra Rupam is so Adbhutam Rupam means it's very wonderful, astounding form of the Lord actually. So and Narsimha Rupam. In 19th verse, Narsimha Rupa came. And again 23rd verse, which we just now read, Narsimha and Daitya Kunjara. Again it comes. Then again in 27th verse, Nrahari comes. Nrahari means what it is? Tell me. How it is? What is the meaning of Nrahari actually? Nra means human being. And Hari means Lord Hari.
Hari is also,
one more meaning of Hari is lion. Therefore, Nra Hari is used. It's not used in terms of Hari, one who takes away. Lord's name is Hari, one who takes away. So, actually, that Hari is Dhirga, actually. One who takes away, Hari. And this is Rasva, E comes there. Nrahari. So that name comes in 27th. So like that in many places. Another verse is there. 30th verse, what it is. So, some more about the form of the Lord, in the 30th verse. Sambrahma dushprekshakarala lochana vyatanananta vilihan swajivvaya asraglavat karuna kesharanano yatantramali dvipahatyaya harihi. No, sorry, I said that Hari also is... Actually, it is Rasva only. Sorry. Lord Narasimhadeva's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood. This is after killing Hiranyakashipu. How he looked, So when he appeared his form, and now after he killed Narasimhadeva, how he looked. That is the description. Lord Narasimhadeva's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes full of anger were impossible to look at. So just like we cannot look directly the sun, similarly we are, no one could look at. It was impossible to look at the eyes of Lord Narasimhadeva. He was so fearful. Fierce. Licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue. Where you find such a description even in... Draupadi what? No, this kind of description that he was licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue. In Bhagavad Gita, where it comes actually? Leliyate, that verse is there in 11th chapter. So universal form also was, Vishwarupa also was, what he was doing? He was licking on the edge of the mouth. Licking the edge of his mouth. The Supreme Personality God, Narasimhadeva, you can imagine that after piercing and the blood is there and he is licking the blood.
It's like Malsan Puru's language.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead Nrsimhadeva, decorated with a garland of intestine taken from Hiranyakashipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that had just killed an elephant. You see again, so again here lion and elephant comparison is made here. So what is the name used for elephant here? Previously Kunjara word came. Here it is Dvipa Hatyaya Harihi. Dvipa Hatyaya, killing of an elephant. Dvipa is called, elephant is called Dvipa. So decorated with the garland of intestine taken from Hiranyakashipu's abdomen. Actually in another verse, maybe it's in the next verse. So he just threw out the heart of Hiranyakashipu. He just takes and throws away the heart of Hiranyakashipu. I don't want to read that, because that comes in the strength of Lord Nrsimha. That I wanted to take a separate lecture only, strength and power, potency of Lord Nrsimhadeva. It was like total surgery, it was. He takes out the heart and just first rips off the chest, then removes the heart and throws away. And then he takes out intestine and puts on his neck. So why such anger actually? Why he is doing that actually? That is because of intense love for his devotee Prahlad actually. So he's so much he has become angry because this Hiranyakashipu has tortured Prahlad. So he is exhibiting his love through anger towards Hiranyakashipu. Anyway, that's whole different discussion. So this description is very wonderful, especially this, because if you see from poetical point of view, so many upamas and alankaras are in every verse actually. Every verse literally. Those who study Sanskrit, they can appreciate it. So in this way, this all comes in Kavya. It comes in Kavya. Alankara and Kavya. Alankara. So anyway, my point was that that is after killing Hiranyakashipu, his farm. Then again in this 9th chapter, now we are reading the 8th chapter of 7th canto. 9 chapters, towards the end of the 8th chapter, all the demigods, they came in front of Lord Nrsimhadeva. They offered, each one of them offered prayer. Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and Pitris, all these people, they offered always prayers to Lord, but he didn't become pacified by that. Then in the beginning of the 9th chapter, in the 2nd verse, then they push Lakshmi Devi. Oh, you are eternal consort of. He is your husband. Why don't you go and pacify him? Then Lakshmi Devi also says, oh no, I have never seen such a form actually. Again, Adbhutam Rupam word comes there actually. So there it says that in the first verse it says, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and other great demigods dared not come forward before the Lord, who at that time was extremely angry. So this extreme anger is because of his intense love for Prahlad. Sakshat Shri Preshita Devair Drashtva Tham Mahad Adbhutam Adrishta Shruta Purvavats Sanopayaya Shankita. So here you see that goddess of fortune Lakshmi ji was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present. You go, because he is your husband and she is your you are his wife. So goddess of fortune Lakshmi was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who because of fear could not do so. She also got scared actually, Lakshmi Devi also. But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and thus she could not approach. So even she had not seen before actually this form. Prabhupada in the translation, he has not translated one word from the verse called Adrashta Purvatvat, it says actually. Shruta means heard. It was not seen, neither it was seen, nor it was seen, neither it was seen, nor it was heard of. How to understand this? Because Lord appears many times, right or not? But in this lifetime of Brahma, so they had not heard about such a form actually. It's surprising it is, right? And Prabhupada also didn't translate it. Why he is doing like this? Funny behavior. No, I am saying not. He is our person more than outside. So, Adrashtaashruta Purvatvat. Adrashtaashruta. Drishta means not seen. Ashruta means not heard of. It's a surprise, no? This kind of description. Because this description should come because this Lord's pastimes are Nitya Leela. So again and again in every Brahma's day, Lord has appeared as Narsimhadev. So two things actually. One is Lord's forms are eternal; they reside in the spiritual world. That is one thing. And Lord also appears again and again in yuga cycles, different yuga cycles, in different days of kalpas of Brahma. So it should not have been, at least it should not have been unheard, Ashruta. So anyway, Prabhupada in the purport, so it's Drashtvatham Mahad Adbhutam word has come here. The Lord has unlimited forms and bodily features, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. These are all situated in Vaikuntha, yet Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, being inspired by Leela Shakti. Here you see the point. Being inspired by Leela Shakti could not appreciate this unprecedented form of the Lord. So Prabhupada gives the reason why. Because you see, here this point also comes that if we are considering linear progressive time, then it has beginning and end, right? So history has beginning and end. But this history repeats again and again in a cyclical time actually. So it should not be unheard at least actually. But now all this, including Lakshmi Devi and other demigods are also, they were influenced by Leela Shakti of the Lord, could not appreciate this unprecedented form of the Lord. Prabhupada translates, in his purport, this Adbhutam as unprecedented. So, unprecedented also means it was unknown before, previously. So, the point here is that why it is that Lord made them to forget about this form, made them to by his internal potency or Leela Shakti actually. Otherwise this pastime would have not, there would have no rasa in this pastime actually. Demigods getting scared to go before him, and even Lakshmi Devi getting scared. So then it would have been no that his anger, his fearsome form, that especially this Ugra Rupa would have not, there would have not been so much rasa in that. Therefore, so this Lord made it to, by his Leela Shakti, he made them to forget about this form. So they completely became blank. They never heard of it. They never At least there should be deities of Lord Narasimhadeva, like we see in there is description about 9 varshas in Jambudvipa. So demigods come and worship these forms of the Lord. So in each of these varshas, one predominating deity is there, and this comes in 19th chapter of, I think, in the 5th canto, 19th chapter. So prayers offered by residents of Jambudvipa. So now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that these forms which are dominating deities of this, dominated personalities of these particular dvipas, varshas, so they are deity forms of the Lord actually. They are not personally present there, they are deity forms of the Lord, he says. So at least Narasimha deities should be there actually. They should have, demigods should have seen them, heard them. But Lord made them to completely forget about this particular form, so that rasa, ugra, that intense virya rasa should manifest there actually. So in this regard, Srila Madhvacharya recites the following verses from Brahmanda Purana. You see, he quotes verses from Brahmanda Purana, and that verses begin with Adrashtashruta Purvatvad. Same line what is there in Bhagavatam actually. In Bhagavatam also, Adrashtashruta Purvatvad Nopayaya Shankita. So Adrashtashruta Purvatvad Annay Sadharanair Janay Nasimam Sankiteva Shrir Loka Mohaya Yayo Prarade Chaiva Vatsalya Darshanaya Harerapi Jnatva Manastata Brahma Praradam Presh Yattada Ekatraikasya Vatsalyam Vishesha Dharshaye Dharihi Avarasyapi Mohaya Krame Naivapi Vatsalaha. Again and again Vatsala word comes. You see, I mentioned that why he took so much fearsome and why he exhibited so much anger, because of his love for his devotee Prahlad. And Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narasimhadeva was thinking that, you rascal demon Hiranyakashipu, you torture my devotee, you see what I will do for you. And he just ripped him off. I mentioned that total surgery it was. Now more than surgery, there what we call transaction, what we used to have, dissection or something. Yeah, dissection. We used to have that dissection of frogs and all these things in our science labs. So it is a total dissection of Hiranyakashipu. And not only that, all other demons who came, just with his nails, he just ripped them off, killed them. Okay, so here these verses which are quoted from, they are again and again word. How many times Vatsalya word comes here? You see there. Prarade Chaiva Vatsalya word once comes. Another word is, it's similar word, Preshayat word also once comes here. So Preshayat, Vatsalyam word has Vatsalha, Vatsalyam, and Vatsalah. 3 times it comes, in little different forms. And Preshayat has word has come. So we'll just read this translation. In other words, for common men, the form of Lord Narasimhadeva is certainly unseen and wonderful, unseen and unheard also. But for a devotee like Prahlad, such a fearsome form of the Lord is not at all extraordinary. By the grace of the Lord, the devotee can very easily understand how Lord can appear in any form he likes. So here we come to another point actually. When Westerners, they see, these Christians and Westerners, they see the form of Lord Narasimha, so they think that another Adi Keshava form is there. On that Ishopanishad book, cover, Lord with, Ananta Shesha form. When they see such forms, Narasimha and this Adi Keshava form, Westerners, they think, what is this? Hindus are, worshipping some Satan, it appears very ugly, or for them, they are. So, and they think that how can God be like this? They can't imagine God to be like that actually. Instead of using the word imagine, they cannot comprehend that God can be like that actually. So, but Lord, by appearing in such forms, He is smashing the idea of anthropomorphism and zoomorphism, So anthropomorphism means we ourselves imagine certain form of the Lord actually. No, you cannot imagine how He comes actually. So therefore He is Adbhutam Rupam. He is. So that other day he was quoting that Agyanam Vigyanam Vidhapi Marjanam actually. So demigods in Garbhastuti, in the 2nd chapter of 10th canto, they pray that by your appearing you are dissipating all kinds of misconceptions about your form actually. So he is personally appearing. So now he appears as Lord Narasimha. He says that no, I can appear in any form. I am independent. So Christians by making a comment like that on Lord Narasimha Deva, that it's impossible that God can be like this, and these fellows are not worshipping God, these Hindus, they are worshipping Satan. By saying that, they are promoting anthropomorphism, which is actually atheism actually. And you are showing yourself to be religious, but you are promoting anthropomorphism. And another thing is that Lord is impotent, means He is not of powerful, omnipotent. He is not Swarat, He is not independent, completely independent. He has no free will. So all kinds of misconceptions will be. So these are called theological problems. You can, these kind of things will bring so many theological problems. And Christianity is ridden with so many theological problems. Or actually there is no proper. Of course, the very word theology, the way they describe is also bogus. How the Lord can appear in any form He likes. Therefore, the devotee is never afraid of such a form, because the special favor bestowed upon Prahlad Maharaj, he remained silent and unafraid, even though all the demigods, including even Lakshmi Devi, were afraid of the Lord, afraid of Lord Narasimha Deva. Narayana paras sarvena kutasyana bibhyati. Not only is a pure devotee of Narayana like Prahlad Maharaj unafraid of any dangerous condition of material life, but also if the Lord appears to mitigate the fear of a devotee, the devotee maintains his status of fearlessness in all circumstances. And another point, we can understand the hierarchy of devotion here actually. There are demigods and they promote Lakshmi Devi, because Lakshmi Devi is more advanced devotee than all these demigods. But then in front of Prahlad, compared to Prahlad, Prahlad is more even advanced and more higher pure devotee. And this comes in Brihad Bhagavatamritam also. So then thereafter Lord Brahma requested Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing very near him, "My dear son, Lord Narasimha Deva is extremely angry at your demonic father. Please go forward and appease him." Prahradam preyasamasa, he says, preyasamas. He requested him actually. So anyway, the point is that here Adbhutam Rupam word has come, and many other words have come. Ragendra Rupam, Nrahari Rupam, Narasimha Rupam. So like that. There was in 13th century, there was one Jain scholar whose name was Hamsa Deva, who wrote a Mraga Pakshi Shastra in Sanskrit literature it is. So he described about all kinds of animals and all kinds of birds, and within one kind birds, different kinds of varieties of birds, in the sense that, okay, there are sparrows. How many varieties of sparrows are there? There are pigeons are there. How many varieties of pigeons are there? Similarly, animals also. How many tigers, varieties of tigers are there? So very nicely he explained it. So you can see in Sanskrit there is so much knowledge is there. That rascal Macaulay, he said that one book in European library is far, far better. I'm just paraphrasing here. He said that it surpasses, one book in European library surpasses millions of India, in Sanskrit literature, he says such. Thousands or something he said like that. So he is such a fool. Actually, exactly opposite is true actually. One Sanskrit book is, what to speak of one, you just take one verse actually. So one verse, you just take one verse. So this Mragapakshi Shastra is there. So that book begins with explaining 6 kinds of lions actually. So, and there are different names are there for these lions. First one is Simha. First one is Simha. Second one is Mragendra actually. And third one is Panchashya. Actually it's a Panchashya. It is Panchashya. This word Panchashya, it comes in many places. In Bhagavatam it is not there, definitely. This word Panchasya, you see Panchasya means it should be, what is that, 56 or 54, what is your numbers other day you were? Panchasya, 56 I think. 56.
56 will be
Panchasat, something like that. And in Hindi there is a term called 56 inch ke, what is that? Chhati. 56 inch ke chhati. You know why it is like that? This Panchasya, actually Panchasya means like that. It is 56 inch ka chanti. So lion is called Panchasya. Why it is? Because of his wide face, Why lion is so called? Because its mouth is generally wide open. So the Sanskrit meaning of that pancham ananam yasya. How the Panchasya word comes? Pancham ananam yasya. So his mouth is ananam mouth, wide open, because it has to swallow a lot of meat actually. Catch the animals and swallow. Therefore Panchasya is. And this Panchasya word, Panchasya, Panchanana. So Panchasya, this title is also given, this word the word is used as a title to those who are vastly learned actually, especially in Nyaya, Tarka. So different darshanas, Hare Krishna. I am saying something. This is used as a title to those people who are vastly learned in Vedic circles actually. Anyway, that is one kind of lion. Then there is Haryaksha. Haryaksha, this word comes in Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 18th chapter, verse number 18. This Haryaksha word is another name. It is said that it is another name of Hiranyaksha actually. But there is a variety of lions also. Lions are also called as Haryaksha. And you all know Kesari. Kesari is one other name of lion. And Achar. The Simha Guru, they use this term for
term for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Actually, in Gaudiya Math, Simha Guru was not popular. Acharya Kesari was popular actually. Acharya Kesari. So, great, powerful acharyas are, they are glorified as Acharya Kesari. And it's also a title among the Vaishnavas especially. We have our friend Vaishnava Simha, he is also Simha. Nice name. Vaishnavas should be like that. They should be like lion actually. So Acharya Kesari. And the sixth variety of lion is called Hari. So Hamsadeva, he elaborately discusses these all kinds of lions with their characters, their features, how they look, and everything very elaborately he discusses. Now about Lord Narsimhadev, Simha word is used. Narsimha is very common among all the names. And Ram Ragendra word had come, we had discussed that in what is that? 18th verse, right? Ragendra Rupam, that word had come. So Ram Ragendra is also used in relation with Lord Narsimhadeva. Narahari is also very common, right? Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. So in that Jayadeva Goswami's song he uses Narahari. And Rakesari is also used. Actually, Rakesari is used by there is a prayer composed by Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami in his Bhavartha Deepika. Many prayers are there to Lord Narsimhadev. And why? Because Sridhar Swami is a devotee of Lord Narsimhadev. He is from Rudra Sampradaya. And devotees of Rudra Sampradaya, Vaishnavas of Rudra Sampradaya, they are devotees of Lord Narsimha actually. So they always glorify Lord Narsimhadev. So in Bhavartha Deepika, in Srimad Bhagavatam, again and again, he composes some prayers and glorifies Lord Narsimhadev. And this particular prayer is in the beginning of Shruti Gita, when that chapter of Shruti Gita, 87th chapter of 10th canto of Bhagavatam, prayers by personified Vedas. That is in Sanskrit it is called as Shruti Gita. So in the beginning of Shruti Gita, when the chapter starts, in his commentary, beginning of the commentary to that chapter, Sridhar Swami, he composed a prayer to Lord Narsimhadeva. Of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also in his Sarartha Darshini commentary, also he composes one prayer, not for Narsimhadev, to Krishna. So, and this particular verse is quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter number 8, text number 5. Here Madhya Leela, chapter number 8. Chapter number 8.
It is part of the verse or quotation?
Quoted by Srila Prabhupada, I said. No? So what I am saying, that this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tour of South India, description about 8th, 9th chapter onwards, 7th chapter only it starts actually, first he comes. So, Lord Chaitanya, he went to South India. Then he comes to this place called Simhachalam. There is Lord Narsimha deity is there. Varaha Narsimha form is there. Actually, most of the year it is covered actually. Only on Akshaya Tritiya day they open their darshan. Most of that means covered by this form of Lord Narsimhadeva is covered by, it is covered by chandan actually. Only once in a year darshan is open Means darshan is open but you can't see, it's just covered by chandan actually. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there and then he offers this prayer. You all know, you must be knowing that Shri Narsimha Jai Narsimha Jai Jai Narsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhranga. All glories to Narsimha Deva, all glories to Narsimha Deva. Jai Narsimha Jai Narsimha. Who is the Lord of Prahlad Maharaj? Praladesha. And like a honeybee, Jaya Padma. Jaya means who is Jaya? Jaya is Lakshmi Devi, name of Jaya. She is called as Jaya, Jayashri. So, actually, no. That is true that her name is Jaya, but here it is Padma word is used for her. Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Branga. Padmavati. Who is the Lord of Prahlad and like a honeybee is always engaged in beholding the lotus-like face of the goddess of fortune. Then in the purport, Prabhupada, you see here, the goddess of fortune is always embraced by Lord Nrsimhadev. This is mentioned in the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam written by great commentator Srila Sridhar Swami. You see exact relevant verses are quoted by Acharyas. This is actually quoted by Bhaktisiddhanta. Prabhupada incorporated that in his purport. The following verse was composed by, just now I was reading, no? Adrishtashruta Purvatvat. That comes in Bhagavatam and the relevant verse is quoted by Madhvacharya from Brahmanda Purana. Similarly here, so Lord is always like honeybee, he is always looking towards the face of Lakshmi Devi. So there should be a similar verse supporting that. Then it is quoted from Sridhar Swami's Bhavartha Deepika commentary on Shruti Gita as an invocation prayer up to Shruti Gita, of 87th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. The goddess of fortune is always embraced by Lord Nrsimhadev. This is mentioned in the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam written by the great commentator Srila Sridhar Swami. The following verse was composed by Sridhar Swami in his commentary on 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vagisha. You see Vagisha. Vaga means what? Lion. Another name of lion actually.
Vaga is actually, I say that, right? Hindi actually, it is referring to tiger, I think.
Isha it is. No, Isha means it is.
Lord of.
No, this here, Vak Isha it is.
Oh, sorry. Vagishayasya Vadanel.
Isha.
Vag means here Lakshmi is Saraswati actually. Vag Devi. He is the Lord of Saraswati actually. Vagisha Vadane Lakshmir Yasya Cha Vakshasi Yashaste Radaye Samvit Tam Nrsimha Aham Bhaje. So Vagisha. Lord Nrsimhadeva is always assisted by Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and he is always embracing the goddess of fortune to his chest. The Lord is always complete in knowledge with himself. Let us offer obeisances unto Nrsimhadev. Nrsimha Maham Bhaje. Then, similarly, commentary on the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1, that is, Janma Desya Ataha. Sridhar Swami describes Lord Nrsimhadeva in this way. Prahlada Radayalhadam Bhakta Vidya Vadharanam Sharadinduruchim Vande Parindra Vadanam Harim. Let me offer my obeisances unto Lord Nrsimhadev, who is always enlightening Prahlad Maharaj within his heart and who always kills the nescience that attacks the devotees. So therefore devotees, to protect themselves from nescience or maya or material desires, they pray to Nrsimhadeva. His mercy is distributed like moonshine and his face is like that of a lion. So Parindra Vadanam Harim. So Parindra Vadanam. let me offer my obeisances unto him again and again. So then this verse is quoted here. This verse composed by Sridhar Swami in his commentary on 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 7.9.1 actually. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has quoted, Ugropyanugraye vayam svabhaktanam rakesari keshari keshari vasvapothanam annesham ugra vikramaha. Although very ferocious, ugropya, ugra api, anugrayevayam, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Swabhaktanam rakeshari. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees, like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narasimhadeva is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. You see how many verses he has composed, Sridhar Swami, towards Narasimhadeva, because he is devotee of Lord Narasimha, like Prahlad. That Narasimha Sridharam Sakalam Vetti Narasimha Prasadam, like that. That verse also comes that by the mercy of Aham Vedo, Aham Vedmi Shukam Vetti, like that it starts. So it is Narasimha Prasadam, mercy of Lord Narasimhadeva is there on Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami, he wrote authoritative commentary. Why he wrote so? How could he write authoritative commentary? From where he got that potency? That potency came from Lord Narasimhadeva. Therefore he is called as Vagisha, because he is Lord of Saraswati. So यही मतना न श्लोक फड़ी श्रुति कोइला नरसिम्हा सेवक माला प्रसाद आनिदीला. In this way, Lord Chaitanya recited many verses and so worshipped Lord Narasimhadev there. Anyway, why I went here actually, Rakeshari, that so Rakeshari comes there. Now Narasimha is very common, Naramragendra is also used, Rakeshari is used, Narahari is very, very common again. So, but Panchasya, Nrapanchasya, Naharyaksha is not so commonly seen, must be there somewhere. So anyway, what kind of, when Lord appeared, Narasimhadeva appeared, he appeared as Simha, Mragendra, Panchasya, Haryaksha, Kesari, Hari. In what form he appeared actually? Yeah, if you discuss the details given by Hamsadeva, which we are not going to do now because it's not a zoological class. So, those who want to learn zoology, they can learn from Hamsadeva. Maybe that book should be introduced in schools actually, because they are studying some bogus zoology actually, dissecting frogs and all this kind of things. So Sanskrit is a big world actually. Anyway, my point was that now the question may arise, which form he appeared, whether he appeared as Simha, Mragendra, Panchasya, Haryaksha or Kesari or Hari, what form he appeared actually? Because all these are used, what form he has appeared.
In different times he appeared.
You can give suggestions like that actually. Not bad, not wrong also. So Adbhutam Rupam means he includes all of these things. Because in 10th chapter of, according to 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, Mraganam cha magendoham, he says that. Among the mragas, animals, I am lion, he says, Krishna. So, and obviously whether it is Simha, Kesari or Nara, Hari, Haryaksha, Mragendra, whatever may be the form of lion actually, it is extraordinary. And Lord includes all the extraordinary things, or anything extraordinary in this world which we see or experience, we should understand that it is manifesting Lord Krishna or Lord Narasimha. Like presently, the most extraordinary thing which is manifest in the material world is in this world on the earth is, what is that? Coronavirus. So it is a potency of the Lord, it represents Lord actually. So it has come to just smash these demons, this demonic doomed civilization, doom this civilization. So Lord appears and he includes all these 6 kinds of lions within himself. And therefore his form is Adbhuta. And we can understand that in different kalpas when he appears, he may appear in these different lion forms. And therefore he is called as Nrakesari, Narahari, Nramagendra, Narasimha, like that. So he is called with the different names. Or when he appeared this time also, he exhibited all these forms to different people actually. So that is also one possibility. Therefore he is called Adbhutam Rupam. Means at a time he can manifest all these 6 kinds of lions. Like we see that like here also in Bhagavatam we see that, because he is called with different names, Narasimha Rupa, Nramagendra Rupa, Narahari Rupa. So like that, Nrakesari Rupa by Sridhar Swami in his commentary on Bhagavatam. So like that, his different forms we can see in this Bhagavatam also. And so it is told about in Naradiya Purana, Brihad Naradiya Purana, it is said, Manir Yata Vibhagena. Before that verse we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna appears, Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajameham mama vartmanu vartante manu shaha partha sarvasya. So I reveal as they surrender unto me. Or in other words, according to the mood of the devotees and even non-devotees also, Lord will appear. So whichever form of lion is required for treating particular demon, so Lord will appear in that form and treat them. And similarly with devotees also, according to the mood of their worship, Lord will. There are many devotees of Lord Narasimha. Prahlad is one devotee, Sridhar Swami is another devotee. Like that, there are many devotees in Rudra Sampradaya who are devotees in Sri Sampradaya and many Sampradayas. Shankaracharya also saw a form of Lord Narasimha and he composed this. So according to their mood, Lord can assume different lion forms actually. He can assume. And that verse is there which I was about to quote. So that in Brihad Naradiya Purana, or Naradiya Pancha Ratra, I think. Manir Yata Vibhagena Nila. Prabhupada has quoted this verse in the 4th chapter. He didn't quote the verse but put it as a part of his purport. In that not Yada Dharmasya, maybe it is Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashya. One of those verses he quotes that. Manir Yata Vibhagena Nila Pita, or it is Ajopisana Veyatma. One of those 3 verses. So, Manir Yata Vibhagena Nila Pitadi Biryuta Rupa Vedam Avapnoti Dhyana Vedat Tatachyuta. So, Manir Yatha Vibhagena. This mani here, it is Vaidurya mani actually. So this Vaidurya mani has a speciality which changes its colors actually. Sometimes it appears Neela, sometimes it appears Pita. So Neela Pita Adi Viryutaha. Neela means blue. Sometimes it appears as yellow. And this also Neela Pita Adi. Adi refers to Lord who appears in different colors in different yuga avatars, actually, in different, as different yuga avatars. So in different yugas he appears in different colors. So then Nila Pitadibir Yutha Rupa Bedam Vavapnoti Dhyana Veda Tatachuta. According to the meditation, Dhyana Veda are the mood of the devotees, the bhava, their sthayi bhava actually. Dhyana, their meaning means it's according to the sthayi bhava of the devotees. Sthayi bhava means so sthayi bhava means both sthayi bhavas, sanchari bhavas. So means these what is it? Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya and Shringara. These are called sthayi bhavas. Then these other secondary, Prabhupada called in English, he called them as primary and secondary, but in Sanskrit they are called as sthayi bhavas and sanchari bhavas. Sthayi means what it is. They always there. They always remain. They are eternal actually. And sanchari bhava means sometimes they manifest, sometimes they don't manifest. So then the secondary bhavas are called sanchari bhavas. They manifest sometimes. Like Yashoda's sthayi bhava is Vatsalya it is. But when Putana comes and tries to kill Krishna, Krishna kills Putana, then again that bhaya comes in Yashoda Devi. So for some time that bhaya comes. That is sanchari bhava it is. So these bhavas are there. So according to the bhavas of devotees, dhyana bedad, rupa bedam avapnoti, Lord assumes different forms actually. So sometime he may appear either for devotees or for demons, he may appear in different forms of lions. He may appear as Simha, he may appear as Mrigendra, he may appear as Panchasya, he may appear Haryaksha, he may appear as Kesari, he may appear as Rahari. So Hari. So in this way, Lord can assume any of these lions forms. Or he can assume even those lion forms which are not described by Hamsadeva. Ultimately. Because it's all based on empirical observation, Hamsadevas. Maybe from the Shastra also, but Adbhutam Rupam, because this very form was unheard and unseen it was. So Lord may assume, Hiranyakashipu thought that, okay, I will take benediction boons from Brahma. He thought himself to be very intelligent, but Lord is more intelligent than them, and he assumed such a form. So he may appear in any of the forms. So in this way, so Lord can appear in any of these 6 forms of lions, or all the 6 forms of lions can be simultaneously present in Lord. So all these possibilities are there. So this is the form of Lord Nrsimha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. We could have gone detailed. What is Mrigendra, what is Simha, what is Kesari, what is Hari. Maybe sometime we may do it. Any questions, comments?
So you are telling that depending on the hierarchy of advancement of devotees, because the demigods they offer prayers, and then God was not specified, then Lakshmi Devi, still the Lord was not specified, or she was afraid to go before it, then Prahlad. I was thinking actually, we have heard that Prahlad Maharaj is in the Dasya, that power. Actually, of course, he sees person who is concerned and she is in conjugal.
Who told you? Where you heard that?
Huh?
Who told you and where you heard?
She is not.
She is in Dasya actually.
She is also Dasya. Both are same thing.
Yeah, but if you see, I don't remember now, I think in Brihad Bhagavatam, Prahlad is given more importance than Lakshmi Devi actually. Of course, they are all pure devotees. From our point of view, they are too high. So, but it is all based on rasa actually. Who gives more pleasure to Lord? Then, any other questions? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sri Narsimha Dev Bhagavan ki jai. In South India and Gujarat, they Nrsimha they say. You may recite it as, chant it as Nrsimha or Nrsimha, and Narasimha is also there. In prayer, like I mentioned in the 8th chapter, towards the end, there are prayers of demigods. When Indra prays, in that prayer, Narasimha comes. Nara word is also there. But when you are singing this Narasimha prayer which we sing, Narasimha Kirtan Vija, we should sing Narasimha only there, not Nara. We should, because wherever Nara comes, we should sing Nara. Wherever Narasimha comes, we should sing it as Narasimha. We should not make Narasimha as Narasimha and Narasimha as Narasimha while singing. Whichever way it is presented, that way we have to recite and chant. Yeah, that also pronunciation. No? Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimho Bahir Narsimho Rudaye Narsimho. So 3 times O comes actually. Ends with O. 3 places in that Narsimha prayer. Yeah, like that. Sandhi. Udvaye Vo. Right? No, another one is there, I think. It is what is that? It is Vishnu Jana. It comes in Vishnu Jana Sandhi actually. Because Ya follows Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha. Before Ya, it turns into O actually. Or it's Visarga Sandhi. Anyway, we'll see that sometime. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, Hare Krishna.